stoves is the next thing. I'm just gonna go over basically good and bad backpacking stoves, or backpacking stoves and non-backpacking stoves. Things like this stove. Here, okay, this is bad. These sort of stoves are great for backpacking. You can put any size pot on them. They'll pretty much work. You can see that the end of this stove is somewhat different from the end of this stove. So you have to keep that in mind if you are looking for a backpack through your house to see if you have a backpacking stove for whatever reason. This is one fuel bottle that would work for one of them. This is the fuel bottle that would work for the other one. So I mean, if you're looking through, you need to make sure that you know what kind of fuel bottle is needed. Something that is not a backpacking stove would be this. This would be a single burner propane. It's like half a Coleman stove. And it sits on this. These are significantly heavier and larger than a backpacking stove. We don't really want to bring those because things are already going to be heavy. So don't be silly. Don't do that. The backpacking tent is this size.
Yes, this is just for backpacking. Isn't that crazy?
It's not just for backpacking, you can use it for whatever.
Or for other things. Yep.
It's got the fly poles and actual tent in there. It's one of the ones that has a fly that goes all the way to the ground, which is good because otherwise you're going to get wet. And that's always unfortunate. This is a footprint. It's sort of like a tarp for underneath and just preserves the bottom. It's not that important, but again, if it's something that you have floating around, it's always lovely to have with your tent.
Very nice.
It just sits on the top. So, next thing we're going to talk about is sleeping bags and thermarests. This is a really good thermarest. See how it compresses that small. Like this. Sorry, dog in the way. Chances are you won't get a thermarest as small. This is just a 3/4 one. So you can see when it unrolls, it's about that big. So it's fairly small. It's just a regular blow-up one. Another option would be a foam one, like this, which can roll up smaller. Chances are if you have one like this, you're gonna have to strap it on the outside of your pack.
It's not fun, trust
Because
me.
things have a tendency of falling off the outside of your pack, and it just ends up being a pain.
Throwing off balance, you know.
But it is an option if you don't have anything else. Something that is not an option would be something like this, which compresses to a size this small. Remember how small the other one is? Theirs is a considerable size difference. This is not going to be fun to drag up a mountain. Don't do it. Next thing I'm going to talk about is sleeping bags. A good sleeping bag would be something like, this is the bag I usually use. It's a really sort of lightweight one, because I don't get cold. Nice thing to have on is this hood at the top. Just kind of covered, you can kind of tighten it up. Something to keep in mind when you're in a sleeping bag, not when you're packing it, is that you don't really want to completely cover yourself into it, because then you're breathing into it and you're getting condensation inside the sleeping bag, and that'll end up making you colder in the end. That'll be very sad. Another really good sleeping bag, this one. It's beautiful. Again, it has this...
My kind of sleeping bag.
It's got, again, it's this one's, I believe it's got the hood, too. It can, yeah. You can't really see because we're kind of bunched up here, but it is significantly smaller at one end than the other. That's just something to keep in mind. It will keep you warmer if your sleeping bag is like that. It is also really hard if you have a bunch of layers on, though.
Or, you tend to kick or spread out.
Something to keep in mind is if you know the rating of your sleeping bag, that's kind of important, because if your sleeping bag is for, like, plus 20, you're gonna be cold, because I'd say there's a good chance it'll drop below freezing while we're up there, because there's some elevation. So try and have one that's good for rated below. If you don't, try and get, like, make or buy a fleece insert. Something that would not be okay to bring would be something like this, that folds up to be about this small and will not keep you warm at all. This is one of those, like, sleepover ones, where, see how it doesn't cocoon at the end?
That's what I have.
Yeah. Nice. It's not a good idea, so if that is all you have, that is not acceptable. Like, you need to borrow a bag, or plead off people until you can find something awesome. Okay, so next thing is sort of what you should be bringing for clothing for this sort of thing. Obviously, as we all go on rants about in Talons, we are not allowed to bring cotton. Like, you can, if you don't have synthetic clothing, don't go to Atmosphere or whatever to buy it. It'll be really expensive. Just go to Valley Village.
I did, but you know.
Okay, she's crazy. I don't know. I have all my stuff from Valley Village. They have lots of synthetic. So yeah, it's important to, layering is really important. So, if you think you're gonna get really cold, don't bring, like, a giant parka. Bring, like...
I know you want to, but it doesn't work.
Bring a lot of layers. So you'd start with your base layer, which would be Under Armour, which conveniently we're wearing because we were just snowshoeing.
Whoa!
So yeah, also, long johns are wonderful, wonderful things.
Yes, and beautiful, nice socks.
That probably smell really delicious right now. But you can see
Smart
there...
wool, the merino wool is what you want.
Yeah, no, it doesn't actually have to be that. It just has to be wool.
Or...
it has to be thick enough that you're gonna... It's just so you avoid rubbing on your hiking boots and you don't get blisters.
or
obviously,
feet during the night.
Make sure they go above your ankles, otherwise that's kind of pointless and not at all hiking socks. I'm sorry, I've seen some wool ones that don't go above your ankles.
Yeah, I have
stupid.
those. That was the beginning of my hiking career. Not a good plan.
So, on top of your layer of Under Armour, you might want synthetic pants, sort of like yoga pants or whatever. If you're really cold or at night, you're gonna want fleece pants. Again, like, I just got these at Valley Village for like $5. They're great.
MEC.
MEC is a lot cheaper than Atmosphere if you happen to be in Vancouver. Keep that in mind.
West 4th. But, yeah, fleece pants, fleece jacket, layering that over top of your already existing long underwear and or yoga pant-like things for sleeping. You don't have to strip off your Under Armour. You'll
Which
be cold
is really good, because otherwise, yeah,
tired,
you don't want to do that when it's, if it's really cold out.
Exactly.
And, yeah, it's really unfortunate. Usually better to bring, like, more than you... I mean, I'd like to say you should bring more than you think you need, but then everyone will bring, like, 100,000 jackets, like this one did the first time I went hiking with her. So, like, if you're not sure,
Ask
err
them.
on the side of caution, because it's better to be lugging things up that you don't need than to be freezing cold when you're up there. But at the same time, like, we're not going to the Arctic. Don't prepare for that, because you're going to have to carry it all up a hill, and you're going to be sad. The thing you're going to want to have inside your sleeping bag is going to be anything you're going to be wearing the next day, just because that keeps it nice and dry and warm, and it's really nice when you wake up in the morning and your clothes you're going to change into are already warm, because you've been sleeping with them all night.
But remember, you don't actually need a full change of clothes, especially for a one-day overnight, so just bring underwear and socks. And if you're already carrying lots of group equipment, and you will cry if you don't have a new pair of,
like,
pants.
I don't know why, but, like,
sure,
the point is that, like, if you have a really small bag and are feeling like you're not going to be able to carry a lot of weight, like, no, you can't be expecting to be able to bring an extra change of clothes. Like,
it's sad, but it's
true. You have to be carrying a fair amount of group weight. If, on the other hand, like, we've already given you 10 tents to carry, and, like, you're still feeling really strong, and, like, you're gonna cry if you don't have pants, like, okay, fine, maybe that's something, but, like, try and be reasonable, like, you don't need them, it's one night. Okay,
remember, this is overnight reasonable, not normal reasonable.
Again, it's really nice if you have a good garbage bag for this. If you don't, like I said, just bring some extras. So, all you're gonna do is shove her in. For this, you don't need quite this big of a garbage bag, but the same point it's gotten across. And all you're gonna do is bundle up the top in one hand and leave it so that there's, like, there's a bit of finger hole in there. So I can stick my finger in through where I'm gripping. And then you're just gonna start to squeeze all of the air out of it. And then once you squeeze for a bit, and then just grip that top so it's airtight. And then pull it around to another angle so you can squeeze more air out of it. And just keep doing that until it gets really small.
And see all the wrinkles? Good.
Yeah, that means it's, like, it should look like it's vacuum sealed, and it should, like, be as small as you can possibly get, because you're just squishing all the air out of the sleeping bag. Which is good. Never store your sleeping bag like that would kill it really fast. Yeah. So,